Welcome back to the Special Features Podcast. My name is Maximilian Greatshell. I'm here with my father, Walter Greatshell.
Greetings.
And it's been a while since we recorded a podcast. A lot has happened.
That's true.
A lot has happened. The last podcast we recorded was just, I think, us sort of riffing after the Lord of the Rings podcast that we did.
Yep.
Which was delightful. I enjoyed it in the Lord of the Rings podcast.
Yeah, that was fun.
But I've decided moving forward that from now on, because it's more fun for me, and I don't care what you think. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to be having special themes around each episode of our podcast. Also, I just think it's better for podcasts because I find that podcasts tend to do better if they have one focused theme per episode.
That makes sense.
I've been thinking a lot about some of the podcasts I like, and a lot about podcasts by famous podcast creators like Good Mythical Morning by Rhett and Link.
Okay.
And here's the thing though, those guys do challenges and taste tests and things, but so I guess their podcast is their wacky personalities and that gimmick.
Right.
And
right.
then and of course now they do a lot of other weird stuff. But then of course, we have more talky podcasts. It's interesting because not a lot of the podcasts I listen to are the most popular ones.
Uh-huh.
So the most popular ones are
what, Mr. Beast?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean, Joe Rogan was really popular for a long time. I don't know if he's still one of the number one slots.
Yeah, I've heard he's slipping in terms of, because he's such an idiot, basically.
Whoa. He's a comedian.
Yes, he was once a comedian.
Anyway, regardless, I'm not sure we should besmirch Joe Rogan on our tiny podcast.
No, I just,
But also, I think he himself has said that he's an idiot several times on his podcast.
Well, of course. And, anyone who has any sense would probably, think that they're an idiot just because we're all idiots to some degree.
Yes. Especially you and I.
We are.
I'm just kidding. We're geniuses, blessed by God. Anyway, but yeah, I've decided that moving forward, we want to have a theme. So this episode's theme, we're going to get drunk on this entire jug of Portuguese wine.
Nice.
At least I think it's Portuguese. It might not be Portuguese. It's Carlo.
No, it's Italian.
It's Italian. Carlo Rossi. I don't know. That could be a Portuguese name.
I actually think it's Californian, but I know what you're saying.
Regardless, we're not actually going to get drunk on this jug of wine, but we are going to talk about winter-themed movies. And the reason we're going to talk about winter-themed movies is because there was just the biggest snowstorm in history.
Yeah, the mother of all snowstorms.
In Rhode Island. And a lot of times in Rhode Island, people talk about, obviously snow is no new thing to Rhode Island.
Right.
We tend to get snow most winters, although,
but
who
not
knows?
much lately.
Yeah, who knows now? With global warming, it's been weirdly up and down. So maybe that's why we had such a bad storm.
Yeah.
But my point is people talk a lot about the storm of 76 in
78,
Rhode Island?
I think.
78, okay.
Yeah.
There was a storm, the largest in recorded history in Rhode Island in 1978. This one beat that one.
Yeah, with a lot of snow. There's still a lot of snow on the ground at this moment.
Yeah. And me and my wife, we live in a very highly populated area, and we lost power for damn near 12 hours, which is the longest I think we've ever lost power for at this house. And also on top of that, just these snow drifts. What was it, 40 inches or something?
3 feet of snow.
Yeah, a huge if you look outside our front right now, and maybe I'll take some footage of the front yard to insert. It's like a moat of you know what I mean? It's like a river of sidewalk amidst a raging. I shouldn't have said river.
No.
It's it's like splitting the Red Sea of snow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just channel. The walkways are just channels through the
monoliths of snow through the mountainous wake of the walls of snow. I'm not coming up with good metaphors for this.
How about the Red Sea? The parting of the Red Sea.
That's what I said.
Okay.
I said the parting the Red Sea of snow.
Okay, well, there you go.
But I am not... oh my God. I've forgotten the name of the man who parted the Red Sea.
Moses?
Moses, thank you. I am not Moses. I haven't, it's been too long since I've seen the Ten Commandments, clearly.
It's a fun movie. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
In fact, we should talk about, religious movies.
Yeah, we should definitely have an episode based on... Well, because we've talked about this before. It's like we're not particularly religious, but we think that like literally interesting art can be made with any topic.
Of course.
And there's actually a pretty huge number of religious themed movies that are really good.
Yeah, some of my favorite movies are religious,
yeah.
Type movies.
Now, people that are hardcore like involved in those religions might think some of our choices are a little bit like they might have problems with some of the movies we like.
I sometimes wonder about that because I think about a movie like The Ten Commandments, like you said, or Ben-Hur, which is another favorite of mine. And I think, do I love that movie because religious people wouldn't like it? Or do they also like it? Is this something I have in common with religious people, that this is a great movie?
I think it depends on the movie.
Yeah, but I'm talking about those movies in particular, Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur.
Oh, Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't necessarily see religious people having a problem with those movies just because those movies are about those stories.
Right.
Like, and they're really just trying to tell, like, I don't know how accurate they are to the lore, though.
See,
I
don't know about the religiosity of those movies. I think the reason that I like them is because they sort of seem like secular treatments of this religious issue.
But that's another thing, is that I think it would depend on the religious person.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some religious people that would say, like, if you watch those movies and you see them as like parables, they might actually like help you to become more faithful.
Right.
But then there's other people that would see those movies maybe and think like this is like sort of heretical.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say. Anyway, we're not talking about religious movies.
No, it's just...
We are talking about winter movies.
Winter.
And we're going to start with one of the best winter movies of all, Winter's Bone.
That sounds like porn.
Which is a movie I haven't been able to take seriously since I heard its title when it came out years ago. The messed up thing about that movie is as much as like all people are children and can't take its title seriously, it's actually an incredibly serious...
Yeah, it's a very glum...
dark movie.
Yeah, it's a grim movie.
So, like, there's nothing about it. Like, if you sold that movie to somebody as a comedy based on its title, they would be very disappointed in you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, you should watch Winter's Bone. It's hilarious. And then they, like, come out of their screening room and they're like, Bill... we need to talk.
Right.
Anyway, I haven't seen Winter's Bone, so I can't actually... I know it's a drama.
Yeah.
I know it's like a crime drama.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for many years, so I don't really remember much about it except that, Jennifer... what's her name is in it?
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Yeah. See, whenever I think of Winter's Bone, I think of the movie The Lovely Bones, just because they both have bones in the title.
Yeah.
But The Lovely Bones is a completely different story. And I don't know if The Lovely Bones takes place in winter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay, but they're both like crime dramas in a way, except one is about a dead girl investigating her murder, and one is about like a living woman investigating a murder.
I don't even remember the murder aspect of Winter's Bone. I remember
online it said that Winter's Bone was about some woman investigating like family murders or something.
Yeah, it's about some woman who lives in some... It's like a poverty movie.
Hold on, I can pull it up right now.
Well, let's not get too into it.
No, I just want to see what the rundown says one more time.
I just think a movie that neither of us can remember is probably not good to talk about too much. Max is reading.
Faced with an unresponsive mother and a criminal father, Ozark teenager does what she can to manage the household and take care of her. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's about poor people in the Ozarks.
Yeah, it's just about being poor and having a terrible life.
Yeah.
Okay, but The Lovely Bones is about a murder.
Yes, that is about
the murder of the girl who's in heaven in the movie. I don't know. I don't know a lot about that either way. Let's keep talking about movies that we know nothing about and haven't seen.
Well, the thing about The Lovely Bones is it's directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
So, that was his follow-up to The Lord of the Rings.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking.
Because it sounded like you were joking.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I don't think I really trust Peter Jackson for just like regular movies. Because ever since I saw Dead Alive, I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about this guy.
Or Meet the Feebles.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
You know what's funny about those is that when when I was living overseas, I was living in Spain.
Yeah.
And you were born in Spain.
I was. In Madrid.
Yeah, in Madrid. And anyway, there was a film festival, a yearly film festival in Madrid. My wife and I went to this film festival, and a couple of the movies at the film festival were Peter Jackson movies. Now, nobody knew. This is long before Lord of the Rings. This is like in the 90s or something like that.
Nobody knew he would direct the last good movies of his time.
Well, I mean, it's funny because we actually went to screenings of Meet the Feebles, and I don't think we saw Dead Alive, but I think we saw Meet the Feebles, which was the first Peter Jackson movie we ever saw. And so we sat in a Spanish art cinema, with a bunch of Spanish cinephiles.
Watching a puppet fly eat poop?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Watching Meet the Feebles. And I can't say I was highly impressed by it. It did not make me think, oh, this is a filmmaker to watch. But
pay close attention.
Obviously,
no, but that's the thing is with Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings has a very specific story behind it. I mean, first of all, Peter Jackson was working with very thoroughly, researched and fleshed out material. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? It's not like he was just going off on his own idea.
Right.
Because I don't think Peter Jackson is an incompetent director. I just don't think he's a very good writer.
Yeah. By the way, let me just stop for 1 second and interject. In case nobody has ever heard of Meet the Feebles, what it is, it's basically like a Muppet show, except that it's incredibly grotesque and
it's a dirty puppet movie.
It's a dirty puppet movie. Yeah. Exactly.
To be fair to him, though, I think he did kind of invent the idea of doing adult puppets.
Well, maybe.
You know what I mean? Because there have been a few parody movies where there's gross Muppets since he's made that.
Yeah, there have been.
And I kind of think he may have pioneered that idea.
Yeah.
So I'll give one thing to Peter Jackson is that he does have some original ideas, and he does like to spearhead certain things, but it's just some of his independent work has been a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. I guess over the top to the point where it's not even really a movie anymore. But I don't want to insult Peter Jackson. I think
you could never insult him because he obviously had unbelievable success with movies that we love.
And Lord of the Rings is hands down the greatest fantasy franchise set of movies and one of the greatest trilogies ever made.
Yeah.
So in that respect, he has secured his legacy.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the reason Lord of the Rings was so good, I think, is a lot of because he knew going into it that there were a lot of people that didn't want to see it get screwed up, and he cared about the source material. He cared about making it look good. There were a lot of very talented people working with him to help, with the production design and everything.
Right.
And I don't think, honestly, the production people that funded it 100% trusted him.
Right.
So they probably put a lot of people in there to do a little to be support,
Right.
And I think because of all those reasons and more, those movies really just came together at the perfect time in the perfect place beautifully.
Yeah, I agree. And he had the advantage of being from a small country and having the support of essentially everyone in that country. Because of his history there.
Yeah.
He had been making movies in New Zealand for a number of years.
Yeah, that's another great point. He's from New Zealand, and it almost feels like everybody in New Zealand who's in the entertainment industry knows each other.
Yeah.
Which is probably true.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's the background too. He had the full support
of a whole country.
Of the country,
yeah, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really worked out for those movies. Those movies came out real nice.
Yep.
But are Lord of the Rings winter movies really? I mean, there's in the two. Is it in? I think it's in the Two Towers. The maybe no. It's in the first one.
Yeah,
where
they're
they
crossing
go through
the
mountains, and
yeah,
then they have to go through the mines of Moria.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say that's sort of
that's wintry.
A wintry moment.
Yeah.
In otherwise winterless movies.
Right.
Which actually leads me to another series of movies that I think some people consider winter or holiday movies. That are much less successful, which is the Twilight movies,
yeah.
Which take place in I think, I want to say Washington State, in a town called Forks,
Okay.
which is a real town.
Yeah, yeah.
But those movies, honestly, I mean, there is like cold in those movies. There's a lot of like, obviously vampires are cold. You know, they go to the mountains at one point. There's, the whole movies have like a filter on them, the way that like, you know, because the Matrix sort of established that style.
Yeah.
Where like the first Matrix movie was totally in like a green tinted filter.
Right.
And then there were, of course, a bunch of other movies that copied that later on.
Yeah.
And Twilight, the series, was at least the first one was one of them.
Yeah.
I can't recall all those movies because I get a little bored when I try to watch all the way through them.
Yeah, well, and also I was a little predisposed to dislike them because your mother was obsessed with them for a while.
Yeah.
No, not the movies as much as the books.
Yeah, she read the books.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people were.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like women because I'm sure there were men that read those books, but I personally can't name a man that read those books.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure there are though. That fan base has got to be wide and varied.
Yeah.
But there is one thing I do have to say about Twilight, which is that it was probably the last time a book series had that kind of popularity.
Really? Was that after the Harry Potter thing?
Twilight was way after Harry Potter. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
All right.
But I also don't know when the Hunger Games came out, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
I just mean there was a period in time throughout a lot of my youth where like book series, like fantasy concept book series or like YA novels were like really popular.
Right.
And I feel like reading books has become so compartmentalized now. You know, basically it's just like an Amazon thing now.
Yeah.
That it's like, that doesn't really happen anymore. There's
Yeah.
no like, you know, you don't have like a lot of release parties, or at least
Right.
I'm not invited to them. But maybe
Yeah.
that's just because I suck and nobody likes me.
No, I mean, I just haven't heard any books breaking out of the mainstream attention in recent years.
Well, anyway, regardless, I just wanted to, give Twilight a mention just because it's a popular property.
Yeah.
I can't say that it's necessarily all that winter themed. I do think it's interesting how there are so many like stories about young women that end up with this like frigid winter theme. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people consider Little Women a winter movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's very Dickensian to have things be like stark and wintry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and there's chilly women involved in these stories. Like, what?
It's just a little funny. That should have been instead of Little Women, it should have been called Chilly
Women. No, but I mean, like, look at Great Expectations, right? Mrs. Havisham is not a young woman, but she's a cold woman.
Yeah.
And then the woman that she's raising is like frigid and crazy.
Yeah.
We talked about Winter's Bone and The Lovely Bones. We talked about what else? There was something else. I'm just saying there's a lot of I kind of get the impression that like there are artists that are trying to unify this idea of like the challenges of being a young woman with like the harshness of winter.
Okay, but it's funny because you would think that would be more applicable to old age, than to young.
No, I think
people.
there's also the struggle of like being a young woman and growing up and trying to like, avoid danger in a very predatory society.
I guess, but what's that? I don't really understand the winter connection there. Like,
because a lot of those stories take place in winter.
Yeah.
And winter is cold.
I mean, like you.
And
you
life is cold and stark.
You mentioned Great Expectations. Obviously, that the opening scene, I think, from that is like a young woman carrying her baby through some kind of blizzard.
Yeah, see, there you go.
And she like drops it off at the door of some orphanage or something like that.
I don't think that's in Great Expectations.
Isn't that Great Expectations?
No, Great Expectations starts in the cemetery with an escaped criminal.
Okay, maybe
and Pip meets that guy in the cemetery.
You're right. Maybe I'm thinking of Oliver. Oliver Twist.
Oliver sounds right.
Yeah.
But the titular character in Oliver is Oliver. It's a boy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really. Although he does have a lot of issues like reminiscing about his mother.
Yeah.
Because he has like a dream of being loved, I guess. So as a result, he's like fantasizing about having like a mother that cares about him and stuff.
Right, but it's his mother that we see in the beginning of the movie. Now I'm talking about the David Lean movie, the old black and white movie.
Yeah.
You see his mother carrying the baby through this terrible storm and dropping him on the doorstep of the orphanage or something like that.
That's definitely not in the musical version.
No, it's not in the musical, no.
It should be.
Yeah.
They could have had because honestly, well, I don't know. The musical's dark enough. Now that I'm thinking about it, because he sings that song "Where Is Love," which is like the saddest. That song still makes me sad.
It's a sad song.
It's such a sad fucking song.
Yeah. Well, that movie disturbed. I saw that when I was a kid when it came out, and I remember standing in this long line of parents and kids. And then when I saw the movie, I was a little shocked by how grim it was, especially when the character of what's his name, Sykes or Bill Sykes, when he kills the woman, and then afterwards he shows up at Fagin's, the old guy who takes care of all
I know who the characters are.
Right, but I'm sort of saying it for the benefit of the viewer if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, Fagin runs a street urchin orphanage. He's like an old homeless man that like lives in
an attic.
And he basically raises kids to steal for him.
Yeah, he runs this crime school basically. But when Bill shows up at Fagin's, Fagin's like, "Bill, there's blood on your coat," and I just thought that was so grim. This guy beats this woman to death and then has blood on him and everything. I mean, it's kind of a kid's
I don't
movie.
even think Fagin wants to like kill people.
No, he doesn't.
He just wants Bill to steal for him.
Yeah.
But of course, the point of Bill Sykes' character is that you can't really have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
You can't like raise kids to be criminals and then not have bad things happen.
Right. It's interesting because by the way, the character of Bill Sykes in that musical is Oliver Reed, played by Oliver Reed, who's a great actor. I love Oliver Reed. He was the leader of the guy who ran the gladiatorial school in Gladiator, right? Or not? Is that the name of the
I don't know. I haven't seen Gladiator in a long time.
Yeah, but also what's interesting is that in the old black and white version that we were talking about a minute ago, the character of Bill Sykes is played by, I can't remember his name, but he's the same guy who plays the pirate in Treasure Island. He's a really good actor.
I don't think I've ever seen a film version of Treasure Island.
Oh, really? Well, there's an incredible there's a really good version that you should watch.
Okay.
And the guy who plays Long John Silver is this actor. I can't remember what his name is. But he's fantastic. He steals the movie, and he does the same thing in...
This whole podcast is just us forgetting the names of things and people.
Yeah, but I mean, if people want to look it up, they'll find that these things are really worth knowing about, Well,
I just got a little distracted because Wesley was just like licking my ankles profusely for the last 5 minutes. But yeah. Sorry, where were you going with this?
No, I was just saying that it seems like whenever they cast Bill Sykes, they always find somebody who's really this over-the-top kind of interesting actor.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say, I just saw on YouTube...
Well, the part is so small, it has to be a very noticeable person.
Yeah, and they do a good job. But I just saw Bill Hader doing an impression of Oliver Reed, which was very funny. And he does a really terrific impression of Oliver Reed.
He does a lot of impressions of like very niche... characters and people.
Yeah.
Because didn't he he did an impression of that guy from Dateline too?
Yeah,
that like nobody remembers.
Well, I remember.
The creepy guy who like always like got off on people's murder stories.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like and then what happened? It's like, well, then we found her body.
Right.
that guy.
Yeah. Well, he was saying he saw an interview with Oliver Reed where Oliver Reed was saying, the difference between film acting and television acting is that or stage acting and film acting is if you're in a film and someone, hits you in the shoulder, you go, ugh. But if you're on stage, someone hits you, you go, ugh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill Hader is one of those guys where it's like, he's one of the few famous people I would actually like to meet.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like he just seems like such an interesting guy to talk to and like a normal guy to talk to. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, he seems very
Like,
approachable.
there's a lot of famous people I really don't want to meet, but he's not one of them.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, actually, just as a little off branch, there's been a lot of talk, and it's been very like a viral meme lately. This footage of Jim Carrey at a recent awards show. I don't know if you saw anything about this.
Oh, he was in France.
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
France at some awards show, and people are like really disturbed by the way he looked and sounded at this awards show, to the point where a lot of people seem to think it's like some kind of doppelganger, or he had some really weird plastic surgery, and a lot of people feel like very weirded out by this.
See,
because they think basically because he's been so against the studio system for so long, that him suddenly showing up to an awards show where he's publicly stated that he doesn't care about awards and things before, and then being at this awards show like, oh, it was such a wonderful experience. And he has like this crazy smooth face with these like weird eyes.
Right, and his hair is kind of long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it too. I also had a thought about it. I wasn't sure maybe it was, if it wasn't maybe some kind of AI, you know.
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, like any of that is possible.
Yeah.
But my thinking is that the most logical explanation to me is Jim Carrey has never been a sane man. Mm-hmm. So like to hold him to some kind of standard, I think is insane.
Right.
Because like I've seen him like, first of all, there's that whole story about like how when he was filming Man on the Moon, he was like channeling Andy Kaufman, and he basically like completely lost his mind. And then every time like I've seen him in recent years in interviews, he's like when he was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, he was very over the top.
Yeah.
And he has like all these Eastern philosophies, and he's like, I don't know, like I kind of get the impression that like he's been through a lot of especially like rough stuff in recent history, right, in his life. And like the stuff he's been through mixed with the fact that he was already like a person with kind of like an unhinged personality. And I say that as that kind of person myself, you know, where you have a lot of like stuff like floating around in your head. By the way, not trying to say like I'm talented like Jim Carrey. I'm just trying to say like both of us kind of have these like
Creative endeavors.
manic crap floating around in our heads. Like I could understand like you kind of breaking a little bit multiple times or restructuring your life multiple times.
Sure.
And I think maybe what we're seeing right now is just him after having like a major life overhaul of some kind.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
The thing
also, isn't he married to somebody new?
I don't know. I mean, the main thing that I thought was strange about the video is just that he looked too young. You know,
but that's what his skin was very smooth. But it could be just that he had like Botox.
Yeah,
something.
it could be. And here's the thing: I want that video to be real because I like Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
You know, I think I mean, like, you know, you're saying he hasn't always been sane, but I think in a way he's too sane for Hollywood.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he's insane. What I'm saying is he's a very over the top person who's been through a lot. And he's a moral person.
Yeah.
And on top of like all of that stuff, I think has a tendency to break a person. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Oh, great. I'm getting just a billion more texts again from the school department in Spanish. I was a substitute teacher for a while, and so I still get texts from the school department, and a lot of them are in Spanish for like Spanish families.
Well, you can practice your Spanish.
I know, but I just don't know why. I guess they just don't differentiate. They just send them to everyone.
Yeah. I'm
Or
sure
I
that's
somehow
true.
ended up on the Spanish list.
Well,
which
I
who
know that when
knows?
I'm watching YouTube, I get a lot of Spanish language commercials. So somehow the algorithm thinks I'm, speak Spanish or something.
It starts Hola Padres. Anyway, regardless, back to winter movies, what we were talking about.
Yeah, anyway, no, we were just talking about Jim Carrey, and I was saying that I wanted that to be a real video because, I want to think that he's doing well and, is being appreciated,
I mean, I guess.
Not that it
Not
matters
if he's
to me.
losing his mind.
No, but I don't think I don't think the implication of that is that he's losing his mind. I mean, I didn't watch the whole video.
I know, I'm just saying, like, it felt kind of sappy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I get it. You go through sappy phases in your life, but I'm just saying, like, I never thought I'd see an image of Jim Carrey being like, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't believe they actually pulled it off. I don't know. It just felt kind of weird.
Well, the funny thing is that right around the time I saw that video, I saw another video of someone accepting at some sort of award ceremony. in Spain. Who was it? Susan Sarandon was
Susan Sarandon?
Yeah, Susan Sarandon or Sarandon was in Spain accepting some sort of an award or just speaking at some ceremony, and she was also being very, very emotional and about it the same way that Jim Carrey was. And my impression is simply that because things are so fraught in America right now, if you're an artist, it's kind of a relief to be somewhere sane,
Like France?
France or Spain.
So you think for Jim Carrey
Europe.
it was like a relief to be in France?
Yeah, I would think so.
Maybe. Either way, the whole thing is, I guess, mildly interesting for speculation.
Yeah.
I think people are getting a little too intense about it. Because it's like,
it sounds like it.
Because there's a lot of like conspiracy theories around it and stuff. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of people like, oh, it's a body double, it's a clone. It's like, give me a break.
No, that kind of thing is ridiculous.
Like obvious, at most, like you said, there's a theory to be put forward that it could be some kind of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Although if that's AI, that would be the best AI I've ever seen.
Okay.
Which maybe it is.
I don't know.
But like, I'm just saying, regardless. What the hell are we going to do about it? How does it affect our lives?
No, it's certainly nothing to devote much thought to.
I'm glad we've talked about it, though.
Yeah,
because it's something people want to talk about and hear about.
Yeah.
And now in the thumbnail of the video, I can also add Jim Carrey's weird face with us.
Yeah. And by the way, just to say, I like Jim Carrey's website. Now, I haven't been there for a while, but he used to have a very interesting website.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of weird
You're talking
little
about the one with all like the
animations.
weird little like GIFs and things on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay. Well.
But that was a cool website. I agree. Actually, I don't even know if it exists anymore. Let me try to see if I can look it up.
Where is he? Where are you, Jim?
Yeah, no, it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. Well, such is life. Anyway,
You're talking about this one, right?
Yeah.
This is what his webpage used to look like.
Yeah.
My God, stop texting me. My God, school department, please stop texting me. But anyway, yeah, so we've talked about Jim Carrey's chilly new appearance in fitting with our winter theme.
It's funny because you've got me thinking about what wintry movies I first saw. The youngest I was when I saw wintry movies.
Oh, my neck.
I actually think the very first movie I saw was kind of a winter theme, and it was 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, God.
I mean, I love that. And that had
the animation.
The animated, the cartoon.
Yeah. Okay. For a second, I thought you were talking about the live action one.
No, the cartoon.
Because I feel like the live action one is going to be the one that more people, my generation and younger, are familiar with.
Yes, for sure. But forget that one. Even though it does have, Cruella is played by, that actress we actually were talking about a couple of podcasts ago.
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. Yeah, who's very good.
No, Glenn Close is fabulous. And absolutely the right choice to play a live action Cruella de Vil, but that movie's not very good.
No, but the cartoon I love. And as a kid, that cartoon, probably because it was the first movie I think I ever saw, had a very powerful effect on me, a powerful impact. And the memory of those Dalmatians and the puppies like walking through the heavy snow was always a very powerful image to me.
See, I completely forgot that movie had snow in it at all.
It's good. Yeah, it's set in the wintertime. So, yeah.
Are there other dog-themed cartoons that have winter? Does Lady and the Tramp have any winter scenes?
I don't. For one thing, I don't remember Lady and the Tramp all that well. I just
Does
remember
All
the spaghetti.
Dogs Go to Heaven have a winter scene?
I don't think I ever saw that.
We could do a whole episode talking about dog animated movies. Let's not do that though.
But what's funny is that maybe one of the movies I saw after 101 Dalmatians was Ice Station Zebra, which is obviously, and it's Arctic themed, if not necessarily winter themed.
Yeah.
But it's about this submarine, this nuclear submarine that goes under the polar cap to like investigate, this destruction of this research base. It's a really good movie.
Is that the movie with Ernest Borgnine?
Yes. Yeah. It's the movie, the first movie I ever walked out of
because you were freaked out by the idea that somebody might get like hit with a pipe or something.
Well, Ernest Borgnine is fighting some guy in the submarine, and he picks up a crowbar.
Yeah.
And when I was a little kid sitting in the theater watching that, I had this vivid idea that he was going to take that crowbar and like tear someone's head open with it or something. And I did not want to see that.
Freaked you out
yeah,
so much.
So I ran out of the theater. But then years later, I saw the movie again, and it never happens.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowbar happens, but nobody gets hit or anything.
But we've talked about that before. Is like sometimes things that freak you out as a kid don't make sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
One thing that I think actually maybe like freaked me out a little bit more than it did the first time I saw it, that I watched recently, was Communion, which was that Christopher Walken movie based on the
Whitley
Strieber book.
Yeah.
Strieber.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of got to give kudos to that movie, because when I saw it the first time, I had this impression of it ever since I saw it the first time that it was just some really goofy, stupid movie. But upon rewatching it, it actually has some really well done effects, and the whole vibe of the movie is very dream logic.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a movie about schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Or something, more than it is a movie about aliens.
Yeah.
And if you just think about it as like a movie that's very dreamlike, that's very like, I don't know, almost has like a Jacob's Ladder kind of feel.
Yeah.
In that case, it sort of works.
Yeah.
And the effects in it sort of work. And there are things in it that I thought were very cool, like the little, the long spindly gray aliens, not the gray, like the ones that look like the grays.
Yeah.
The kind of willowy aliens with the long fingers and arms. There's a lot of shots of him in like the alien spaceship where like those guys are floating around in the background, and you think to yourself like, oh, they're just like balloons or something as far as like effects go, but their fingers like independently move and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did they, like, what kind of pneumatic technology did they use to make those effects? And it's like, some of it is very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a creepy movie. I mean, I have a good memory of it. I mean, I also remember laughing about the fact that it's the movie where Christopher Walken gets anally probed.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the point of that happening in the movie is to be like, because the realization he has at the end is basically that the aliens aren't really what they seem.
Right.
They are just approaching you based on... It's kind of like Solaris. It's like they are coming to you with the information you're putting out.
Right.
So it's not like you're seeing what you think you're supposed to see. You're not seeing what they really are.
Well, and it is a dream... I think you said dream logic, which is a perfect description, because in a dream or in a nightmare, oftentimes the things that happen are the things you're thinking about are going to happen and are dreading.
They're the things you're afraid of.
Yeah, and so this movie kind of captures that pretty well.
And that's the point, is like those aliens are coming to you with your fears, with your ideas, and like I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of an interesting, in a weird way, it explains all anomalous phenomena in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's this idea that maybe there's some sort of underlying supernatural intelligence we don't understand that tries to communicate with us, or some higher being that tries to communicate with us but doesn't communicate the way we do. So it basically just approaches us with things we understand.
Right.
And if you want to go like to one of my favorite movies in that regard, we talk about the Mothman prophecies, right?
Yeah.
And in the Mothman prophecies, they make a lot of comparisons of like, like, oh, if you're on a balcony and you see a disaster coming before somebody else, does that mean that like you have supernatural powers, or you're just at a better vantage point to see the disaster? Or they like talk about like, like we make a lot of comparison of like human intelligence to other intelligences versus like humans to ants. And it's like, okay, how do we, in the past, when we've communicated or worked with ants, how have we communicated with them? Ants communicate a lot through like pheromones and scent and stuff.
Right.
So we basically just like spray signals at them. We don't communicate in a way that makes sense for their society or for their intelligence.
Right.
So if ants were like, if you saw it from like an ant's perspective, what we're doing might be completely bizarre and confusing, or even harmful or upsetting in some way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if there was an intelligence that was degrees higher than us, that we are from ants, its way of communicating with or studying us might be things that don't make sense to us, or even are upsetting to us, that are just based on whatever it thinks we use for communication.
Right. I mean, it's funny because I think there have probably been a lot of Star Trek episodes where they're dealing with aliens, where it's that problem, like how do you communicate with somebody who has a completely different...
Well, I mean, if you look at like the first TNG episode, which was the one with those giant jellyfish.
Yeah, right.
It's like, how do you talk to a giant space jellyfish?
Right.
I don't know. But like, they're working with a much higher degree of technology, though.
Yeah.
So for them, interpreting the bizarre or anomalous is much easier than it would be for us.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, in reality, we don't know what is required for communicating with creatures with different kinds of intelligence.
Right.
It's been one of our greatest mysteries because we still don't fully understand the nature of intelligence or the nature of consciousness.
Yeah, well, isn't that the whole there's a big fad going on with those button boards, to get people to talk to their dogs and other animals.
Oh yeah, yeah, because dogs can, but that's pattern recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, dogs can understand and respond to certain words, and they know what certain words mean, but it's not like the way a human does.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they understand that outside means outside. They understand when your tone of voice is excited, that means you're excited.
Right.
Like, but they're not like thinking in complete sentences and thoughts.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, what do they always say? They compare a dog's intelligence to that of like a 2 or 3 year old. And it's like, that's pretty accurate, but like, I still don't even think a dog thinks the way that like a 2 or 3 year old human does. Because the way that their world is perceived to them is completely different than ours. Their biology is completely different. Their senses are completely different.
Well, also a 2 or 3 year old couldn't survive on its own, but a dog could.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we're coming at things from a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
It's like that thing where you say, where they say like, if a lion could speak English, we still wouldn't understand him. It's because like the lion's viewpoints, references, senses, everything about the lion's intelligence is and world is completely different from our perception of the world.
Right.
So even if he spoke in English words, the things he would say wouldn't make sense to us.
Right.
Anyway, but we're getting way off topic here.
Yeah.
We could have a whole podcast about, technology and aliens and intelligence and all kinds of things.
Of course.
And at some point I do want to talk about like the Mothman prophecies. So maybe at some point we can talk about like, I don't know, alien movies or like
weird
sci-fi.
alternate universe.
Yeah. Anything really.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into Defending Your Life, which is another movie I just saw recently.
Yeah.
Definitely not a winter movie. That movie starts in L.A., and basically the whole movie takes place in kind of a version of L.A.
Right. Although, you know what? There is the snowmobile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The
Big
main character
bear.
has a scene where it shows part of his life where he's riding a snowmobile.
Right.
Pardon my language, but those, your balls vibrate for a month afterwards.
Right.
I just love Rip Torn.
Yes,
in that movie.
Rip Torn is brilliant in that.
And his response to that scene when the guy says that your balls vibrate and he like goes there and he's like,
right. Yeah.
Rip Torn is fabulous.
He is.
If you want, honestly, what's funny to me is if you want an example of like Rip Torn as like the most extreme version of like every character he's ever played. And this is not me recommending this movie by any way, shape, or form.
Oh, God. I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say The Man Who Fell to Earth. No, I know you're not going to say
That's David
that.
Bowie.
Yeah, but Rip Torn is in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, and he's really good in it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say Freddy Got Fingered.
Yes.
Because he's the most extreme version of himself in that movie.
No, he is. It's true. And he's always fun to watch.
So don't watch that movie. Just watch a clip of Rip Torn in that movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, we're not talking about Rip Torn. We were talking about winter movies, and you mentioned Ice Station Zebra or something.
Yeah,
And I wanted to jump off of that and say that another movie that takes place in about the Arctic is The Thing, which you mentioned before we got here.
Yeah.
And is one of my most nostalgic and possibly favorite, like horror survival type movies from the 80s, and has, what's his name? Snake Plissken.
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Has Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah.
And who directed The Thing again?
John Carpenter.
Was it Carpenter?
I think so, yeah.
Sometimes I get confused between Carpenter and...
I know
In the Mouth of Madness guy.
Yeah. I do it too sometimes.
Anyway, regardless, John Carpenter, directed The Thing.
Yeah.
I've always said my only issue with The Thing is the creature design right at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it gets a little bit lazy with the final monster.
Yeah, it starts doing stop motion animation, which I think is not necessarily the best
way to go about it.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's like puppets.
Yeah, and the effects are created by Rob Bottin, who's a really great effects guy.
Honestly, as far as puppets go, all of the effects in that movie until the very end are very successful.
Yeah.
And I still don't hold it against that movie that much that ending is not amazing, just because like it's still, that's not the final scene of the movie.
Right.
And the final scene of the movie is fabulous.
Yeah.
Which is the two guys in the snow, like waiting to find out if either one of them is the alien.
Thing, right.
But it doesn't even matter because they're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, if one of them is, there's nothing they can really do about it.
Right.
Other than just like sit there and drink whiskey or whatever.
Yeah.
And since they're sharing a bottle, if one of them is the alien, the other one's going to become the alien.
Right.
So like, great, beautiful ending.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like,
for
the most part, that movie's fabulous. I love the score. I love the sensations of it. It's a great movie. There is that one other part where Kurt Russell pours the coffee into the computer that we think is dumb.
Yeah, even when I first saw the movie, I didn't like that scene, because if you're in a place where it's so remote and so hard to get things, you're not going to sabotage one of the few pleasures that you have by pouring coffee into it or whatever. That's just lazy writing.
Yeah.
You know. But I just was going to say that the ending of the thing is really good. But there's a sequel to the thing that they made that I think is not a terrible movie. Have you seen it? It's got the woman from.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought the sequel. A lot of people hated that sequel.
I know.
I don't really know why though, because
Yeah.
I actually thought it was fairly successful with some of the things it tried to do.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about it is how it hooks up the end of that movie with the beginning of the thing.
Yeah.
You know, because they're chasing the dog, and then they hit the other base.
No, it's a direct prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I need to do that I haven't actually done, which is I need to watch those movies in sequence, and not in the sequence they were made, but the sequence they take place in.
Right.
Because it just might be fun.
Yeah, I think I've actually done it, and it is fun.
Yeah. No, I absolutely adore the thing. That's like for a while that was like a must-watch every Halloween for me. But in recent history, I've taken a break from it, but I may revisit it again. I don't know if I think Gwen has seen it, my wife, in case for those who don't know.
Yeah.
But if she hasn't, we should definitely watch it.
Well, when the thing came out, I was in college, and me and a group of my friends went to see it. And it's funny because we were sitting watching the movie, and there's the scene where they're looking at the big dead carcass. You know, they're kind of doing an autopsy on the big, gross, smoking carcass. And it's very disgusting because they're kind of peeling it open. It's very fleshy and gross. And,
I know, the body horror is one of the things I like in that movie.
Yeah, and I remember the people I was there to see the movie
also,
with.
there's like steam coming.
Yeah, there's like steam coming from it. It's really visceral and gross, literally. And the people I was with left. Like, they couldn't take it. They like walked out. But I stayed and watched the movie, and I liked it. You know, I thought it was good.
Well, it sort of has the feel of like a homemade like Area 51 like dissection video, which I'm sure is intentional. Like, John Carpenter loves that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean that's what I love about that movie. I love the visceralness of it. I love how grotesque it is, but I also love how like, I don't want to say funny because it's not necessarily a comedy, but
it does have a lot of funny things.
I like people's reactions to the horrifying stuff in that movie, because they freak out in ways that feel very realistic.
Yeah, I agree. It's the movie has a lot of comedy in it, and
especially when they see like the dog at the beginning turning into the creature in the kennel, and they like freak out and the big arms come out of it and stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyway, great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. Honestly, we could do an entire podcast just talking about The Thing, or just talking about John Carpenter.
Yeah.
And I could talk about that movie. That terrible anthology movie, Body Bags, where he plays like basically the crypt keeper. He's like a corpse in a mortuary. Anyway, not the point.
Okay.
But moving on from that, should we try this wine just to see how it is?
Go for it. Should get us a couple of small glasses. I like cheap wine.
That is just as bad as I expected it to be.
Oh, come on. I'm sure it's delicious.
It's like $10 for this 8-gallon jug of wine.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want some?
Well, I kind of do, but like lately my stomach has been a little iffy, so I'm not sure I should.
Mine too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's the habaneros and the hot sauce?
It might be. It could be. Those things are crazy.
They're pretty strong.
Yeah. My son made like a habanero hot sauce that it is insanely hot, but worse than that, it's not just that it's hot. Like you can stand it going in, but it's very difficult to tolerate going out.
This is what habaneros do.
Okay.
This is their nature. Their nature is some people can handle them,
Yeah.
but their nature is they burn more inside than they do on the tongue.
Yeah.
However, for me, it's worth it just because they're so delicious.
Yeah.
Like habanero hot sauce to me is so delicious that it's worth the pain I suffer for it.
Well, I mean, I just had some this morning. I made some fried spaghetti with some ham and a little bit of your hot sauce and some Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
And it was very tasty.
Well, just don't use it too frequently. If you take breaks from it, you should be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally speaking, it's not good for anyone to eat hot sauce every day, regardless.
Yeah.
Just because it's like sodium and it's not good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, moving forward with our list, I definitely have. I made this ridiculously long list of movies to talk about, but I honestly think I'm going to skip over some of them and just sort of have some honorable mentions in here because I just don't think we have enough time to talk about all of them.
That's okay.
But one of the ones
But by the way, before you go on to the next one, I just wanted to quickly say one more thing about The Thing, which is that a connection I never thought of before. But, when we came in here, we were talking about maybe doing a podcast about the Coen brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And it suddenly occurs to me that...
well, Fargo is one of the movies we're going to talk about.
Okay. Well, before we get into that, I just wanted to say that the movie that reminds me, because you were talking about The Thing having comedy, being funny, and, because of the reactions.
Yeah.
And the only other movie that immediately springs to mind that has that same quality is Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And obviously, Joel Coen had something he edited some sequences for Evil Dead. Now, the movie was directed by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
But Joel Coen was involved with the Evil Dead. And so I think that it's funny because The Evil Dead and The Thing are two movies that are unusual in that they have extreme gore, but also they're funny, And of course, we were talking about Peter Jackson.
Yeah, no, over-the-top comic gore with like funny reactions has become popular, more popular.
Yeah.
And obviously it's because of movies like The Thing and
Yeah.
Evil Dead and stuff like, I think Sam Raimi did that most successfully.
Yeah.
Like he really fused comedy and horror in a way that they'd never been, because comedy had never been as extreme as it was in Evil Dead.
Right.
And still had a movie be scary.
Yeah.
Because The Thing does have funny moments, but it's not an inherently comedic movie.
No, it's still intended to be a serious horror film.
Yeah, whereas Evil Dead is a
comedy.
horror comedy.
Right.
Why do you do that, by the way, when you're stating points?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
And Dad spiders his hand on the table. That's what if you're hearing.
You know what it is? It's because this tablecloth is like this birthday. It's like there's like this birthday plastic on the table, and it's a bit sticky on my hand, and so I'm trying to prevent my hand from sticking to it.
Okay, it's the reason this plastic is on the table is it was recently Gwen's birthday, and I was just sort of like doing some cute little decorations for her. It's not because I'm shooting like clown porn in the house or anything. Anyway, but yeah, we'll talk about Fargo in a second, and that's probably the last movie we should talk about because, no, there are two more movies I want to talk about a little more in detail.
Okay.
But some honorable mentions on this winter list I just want to point out before we end the episode is March of the Penguins, great documentary about emperor penguins, narrated by Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, right.
Sad, touching, powerful stuff.
Okay.
I really like March of the Penguins.
Okay. I'm not sure I've seen it.
You haven't seen March of the Penguins? I saw it when it came out in IMAX.
Yeah, maybe I did see it.
I was when I was a kid, so you must have seen it.
Yeah, I probably saw it.
So that's an honorable
I've just seen a
mention.
million animal documentaries, so.
The Revenant, big fan of The Revenant as an honorable mention. Definitely starts in winter.
Yeah.
Really like just the visuals. Some would say that movie's a real slow burn. I don't agree. I think it's sort of a great movie about like what you can survive as a human being if you're fueled by like something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because in that movie, I think he survives because he's fueled by the desire for revenge for his son's death.
Right. Which is funny because I think another movie on the list is Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh yeah.
And that's also a guy fueled by revenge.
Yeah. Jeremiah Johnson. That honestly, True Grit could probably be mentioned on there.
Yeah, sure.
Because that has some wintry stuff in it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like in the new True Grit, they meet that hunter in the woods.
Right.
I don't remember if that's from the book.
It's not.
Anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
True Grit. Watch the version with John Wayne in it.
Yeah.
And read the book. What else? I mean, there's probably a lot of like pioneer movies that involve winter scenes. I told you I was just watching that goofy movie Far and Away, and that has a winter scene in it.
Yeah.
But another honorable mention, The Shining.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
You know, that obviously that ends in a very severe snowstorm.
Well, and obviously they're there to take care of the hotel because of it's winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So winter themed movie.
Yeah.
Excellent book.
Yeah.
Also a winter themed book technically.
Yeah.
Both worth totally different. So I wouldn't say like judge one by the other. Just take them as separate pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because when I read the book, I was a huge fan of the book, and I did not like the Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
And I don't think Stephen King liked the Kubrick movie, but as years went by, I liked the movie more and more.
But also we've talked about it. It's like there's that documentary about like there being like a lot of the movie being nothing but like metaphorical imagery.
Right.
Anyway, which I think is called like Room 237
yeah,
or something.
I think so.
Anyway, worth mentioning because that's important to a lot of people. And I guess just because it's on here, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
That has like the Winter Queen in it.
Yeah, there's
a
bunch of wintry stuff.
Yeah,
in that.
I don't know how I feel about the movie, but the book was one of my favorite books as a kid that like, mom read to me.
Yeah.
So if you want to introduce your kids to fantasy,
it's funny because
it's a good place to start with that book.
You're taking me to one of my oldest anecdotes, which is that when I was a kid, my mother was working for this church, and she wanted to introduce me to the pastor of the church. So I was invited into the guy's office to have a conversation with him. And I was really awkward because I didn't care about, I didn't go to church and I didn't care. But I was polite. And one of the things I noticed was in this guy's bookshelf in his office, he had Alive, the story of the Andes survivors.
Yeah.
And so I asked him, I told him I really liked that book. And I was hoping we might have a little connection. He might say, "Oh yeah, it's a great book" or whatever. But no, he got really uncomfortable, and he basically suggested I read C.S. Lewis. So he wanted me to read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Well, that is something that a lot of people have a problem with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is about it being like a
religious allegory,
like an allegory for religion. Yeah. Which if you want a counterpoint to that, I suppose you could read your kids The Golden Compass. Because the Golden Compass is about killing God, essentially. So you have that one's an allegory against religion,
right.
And The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series is an allegory for religion.
Yeah.
So you could, if you want to like really fuck your kids up. No, if you really want to like teach them about the subconscious battle between religion and against religion, that's you could read both those series.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Anyway,
yeah.
But since we are getting very close to time here,
okay.
But I think I might stretch this episode out a little bit because I really want to talk a little bit about Fargo and Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah,
which are both prominent winter movies that I think are. And by the way, we wanted to talk about this specifically because we wanted to talk about winter movies that did not have anything to do with Christmas or the holidays.
Right.
And those movies are perfect examples.
Yeah.
Because one of them is about a holiday, but it's about a holiday nobody cares about.
Right.
And one of them is like comedically on purpose.
Yeah.
And one of them has nothing to do with anything remotely. It's a murder mystery,
right.
kind of. Not really a mystery. It's a comedic, dramatic sort of police movie, but it's complicated.
Well, and it's an interesting, you trying to describe it makes me realize that movie. What is that movie about? Like, what is the theme there? It's almost like
it's about people.
Yeah, it's about people.
It's about a dark aspect of humanity blinking into existence for a moment in the midst of the wintry, homey landscape of a small town,
right.
of a northern Midwestern town.
Right, but what does it symbolically mean? And I'm thinking that the winter, the snow in that movie represents mortality and death. And so the movie is
Being
about
thrown into a wood chipper.
yes, but the movie is about how different people cope with mortality. How do you cope with the prospect of your own end and the prospect of the bleakness, the bleak, all-encompassing cold and whiteness of the universe? You know?
So who's coping?
Well, I think
We're talking about like Steve Buscemi and
I think they're coping. Yeah, him and the criminals are coping.
what's that other actor? He also played the devil in Constantine.
Yeah, I really like him. I can never remember his name, but he's also in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
He's the nihilist.
Yeah, he's the
But the criminals are coping by just behaving in very self-serving, destructive ways that ultimately destroy them.
Yeah.
And then the good guys, Marge and so forth.
and it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're coping by looking at the majesty and the beauty of this eternal thing, and they're not religious that we're aware of either. Yeah. It's just the practical beauty of it, the fact that they're enjoying the snow, they're enjoying the winter, and they're enjoying their company.
Some people want to throw everything away, and other people just want to live and let live.
Exactly.
And embrace what they can.
Right, and which is the more powerful, successful philosophy?
Yeah.
Well,
obviously, I mean, if you want to talk about that, if we're talking about like, all hope is lost versus, there's divine power behind the universe. The two opposite sides of the.
But I wasn't even talking about divine.
That's not what I mean.
Okay.
I just mean like, like all good versus all bad in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's a lot of movies that discuss that, and ultimately the answer to everything is always balance.
Yeah.
We go back to like Buddhism and shit there again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but I Heart Huckabees in that way is a similar concept.
Yeah. That's absolutely. That movie is philosophically very interesting because it discusses all these things very explicitly.
Yeah. But what's great about Fargo is not necessarily the overarching theme. What's great is the little character scenes, and that's what's always good in Coen Brothers movies, is those little moments between the characters.
Yeah.
And obviously, what shines better than anything in those, I shouldn't even say that. I was about to say like the Steve Buscemi stuff shines better, but that's not true.
No.
Because even the stuff with Florence, what's her name? I don't remember the names of any of the actors.
The one who plays Marge.
Yeah. Anyway, but even the stuff with like her and her husband, all of that stuff is super memorable too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes of them eating, which is really great.
Yeah, and just their little life together where, she has to go to work in the morning and it's freezing cold, so he like gets out of bed and goes and warms up her car for her.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful little love going on there.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
But one of the most memorable scenes of that movie is still them interviewing that guy in the bar who's talking about meeting Steve Buscemi.
Right.
And he says, I'm going crazy up there on that mountain. I gotta find me a some ass or something like that.
Right.
The Midwestern accent with them saying all this like really inappropriate
kind of dirty
stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, it's great. The whole movie is brilliant.
Yeah. And a lot of people, we've talked about this, there are some people who've gotten mad over the fact that the accents in that movie are like very overplayed, like very played up in a way that those accents don't usually exist in real life.
Right.
But I say to them what I always say about movies like that, which is that movie's a cartoon.
Yes.
So like they're obviously, if you go to Minnesota, there may be like one or two people that are that extreme.
Right.
Most people are going to be pretty normal.
Right.
And sound pretty close to the way you sound in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But the point is that they're creating this like, it's like, you know what a good comparison is? Garrison Keillor, Lake Wobegon.
Yeah, exactly.
You're creating this comically over-the-top, like little North Midwestern town.
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
It's what everyone would want to find if they went there.
Exactly. It's like, goofy Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I think that that's absolutely right.
Because people are also, I think, comforted by that. They like towniness.
Yeah.
They're like, I want it to be a charming little town where everybody sounds like a cartoon character.
Exactly. There's something pleasing about that. And of course, the contrast between that hokiness and the gory violence of the murder and everything is what makes it interesting.
More fun and more palatable.
Exactly.
Yeah, because obviously watching somebody get thrown into a wood chipper is disturbing.
Yeah.
But counterposed with like, a talk about like what a nice day it is, and that you fellas, are doing all this terrible stuff is it's sort of, it's got this nice back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving on from that, another movie that is very cartoony and charming and also has very dark moments is Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
About your friend and mine, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, yeah.
And how he goes to Puxatawney, which I think is a real town.
Yeah, it is.
To see the groundhog be brought out of his hole, which is their Groundhog Day tradition.
Yeah.
To see if he sees his own shadow in 6 more weeks of winter or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a weatherman, so I don't really know why he's doing a mobile news story, but like, whatever.
Well, it's a weather story.
Yeah, but now I don't know for sure if it's the first movie to use the theme that it does, which is like, repeating the same day of your life over and over again until you like get it right, essentially.
Yeah, I think it is.
Did they invent that idea?
I'm pretty sure. I had never seen a movie that had that.
Well, here's the thing. If there's other movies that had that notion before Groundhog Day, feel free to comment about it. I would love to get some comments on these videos. Wouldn't that be nice? But as far as we know, it's the first movie to do that idea.
Yeah.
And as far as I believe, it's the best.
Yeah. I just recently saw another one. I can't remember what it was called, but it was about this woman who loses her memory every night as she sleeps. And so every day is a brand new day that she's never lived before.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
There's also some terrible comedy with Andy Samberg where that similar things happen.
Yeah, something like that.
There's also a show called Russian Doll with Natasha Lyonne where she basically every time she dies, she restarts the day, and she always dies before the end of the day.
Right. So it's become a common idea.
A very overused trope.
Yeah.
However, Groundhog Day did it first and best.
Yeah.
And Groundhog Day gets pretty dark.
It does.
I mean, you can't really tell because it's a movie. It has a limited runtime. But the impression you get is that Bill Murray is essentially forced to relive the same day for potentially thousands of years.
Right.
And, he gets to the end of his wits at certain points where he tries to kill himself and stuff. And in that way, it's almost sort of an allegory for life because it's like you go through life and you have all these, initially you're very hopeful and then you have like all of your hope about life kind of like broken down systematically if you go through this kind of a life. It's different for everybody.
Right.
But I'm saying for the most part, I think that the way it works is that a lot of people start out very hopeful, then they get very broken down. But then if they're smart, they springboard off of that and realize that the way to be happy is just to accept reality and just sort of try to make the best of it.
Right.
And I think that's what happens to Bill Murray in the movie.
Yeah.
Is because he starts as a very shallow person. It takes him, I think, a lot longer to come to the realization that he needs to try and do the best he can with the time he has rather than just like, because, in a way, I think we've all had that feeling that we're like living the same day over and over and over again. And it's like, really, it's what you can do with it that matters.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the more you come to realize that, that the time that you have is precious, the more you're likely to actually try to do something meaningful with it, Yeah. But I think that it's a hard realization to come to because a lot of times you're just living your life and you're just kind of in this zone of taking everything for granted and feeling like this is just the world that is like nothing interesting is going to ever happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very unfortunate way to think because obviously we're having this bizarre experience that we should try to appreciate.
Well, also sometimes you gotta stop fighting against things and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
So like if you have like, let's say like a job you don't like, but it's not one that you hate or that's killing you. It's tolerable. And it's something that you need. Like you don't have any other choice. You need to then learn to be passive about it. You need to like learn to be a part of it and just let it happen and just try to do the best you can with every little piece of it because just fighting against it and hating your life every day is only going to make you and everyone around you miserable.
Right.
So it's foolish to fight against something you have no control over. Yeah. And I think that's part of the movie too, is like Bill Murray, he doesn't know how long he's going to have to relive the same day. He doesn't know if it's going to be forever. So as a result, at first he tries to fight it, but it just makes him want to kill himself.
Right.
And when that doesn't work, when killing himself doesn't work, he has to learn to like just be okay with it.
Right.
even if it means potentially being stuck like that for eternity.
Right. Yeah, because in a sense, you could say he could be living in hell, but he has the choice. He can make it into kind of a heaven.
Yeah.
So that's what you've got. Those are your options. And that's the option in the real world, too. You can make your own hell, or you can make it as much of a heaven as you could possibly imagine,
Yeah. You can do everything. You can do everything to make your life and everyone else's lives as bad as possible, or you can do everything to make your life and everyone else's lives as good as they can possibly be.
Right.
And that choice is entirely on you.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be alive, why would you make the choice to suffer?
Right. Right, absolutely.
Because the alternative is, what do they say? It's like we were talking about The Devil Wears Prada and Stanley Tucci giving that speech to Anne Hathaway.
Right, the poor me
yeah,
speech.
Where he's like, if you're so miserable, then quit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if life is so bad that it's intolerable, like what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you need to find a way out of that.
Yeah.
Because the only alternative is death.
Yeah.
And death is almost never a good alternative.
Right.
And there are rare cases where somebody is just, their life is so impossible that they don't have a choice but death. And I get that. If you're somebody who's like, every day you're in agonizing pain, or like, you're truly legitimately miserable in some way that makes total sense, then maybe your only outlet is death. But that is rarely the case.
Right.
And I think most of the time people that do take their own lives are people whose lives weren't as bad as they thought.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to reflect and trying to change or trying to feel better in some way, do anything to make their life more tolerable, they choose to end it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've known, I knew a person that happened to, and to this day, I mean, this happened probably 50 years ago, 40 years ago, and I still feel like they shouldn't have, I think they probably would have had a great life if they had just gotten past that, that moment.
Not to mention the fact that life is not very long and it's all we have. It's all within our own perceivable reality. So the idea that you would cut short something that is a completely anomalous experience, that you have no idea what it means or how long it's going to last or if you'll ever get the chance to have anything even close to it ever again in eternity, seems foolish.
Yeah.
Even if life is tolerable at all, it's at least worth it for interest's sake to stick it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like you say, I mean, we are more fortunate, than some. I mean, obviously there are people who have very, very terrible lives.
Yeah. But also I get it. I totally get where that darkness comes from.
Yeah.
I've had moments in my life where things have felt very, very bleak.
Yeah.
I've had like I told you, I had a mental breakdown where I felt like I literally could not feel any kind of happiness in my brain. I just felt completely hopeless and miserable. And in that moment, if I was somebody who was capable of doing something, to hurt themselves, I might have. I found that, in the past that the feeling that you're about to die is so much worse than any kind of sadness you can possibly feel that it's not really worth it. But I get it. If I was a person who was capable of acting in that way, I may have at that time.
Right.
And so I get that there are these catastrophic lows, but if you can in any way pull through them, you should. And I've been very lucky because I have people in my life who care about me. I have, you guys,
right.
You and my mom. If you hadn't helped me at that time, I don't know what I would have done.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that have no one.
Yeah, and those are the people I feel terrible for, because it's hard to imagine what you would do if you were at that low and had no one to.
If you have no one, find anyone.
Yeah.
Is what I can say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Call the suicide hotline. Do anything other than, kill yourself or throw your life away in some horrible way.
Right.
But I get it. Life is a journey. Things change. You gotta figure stuff out, and that's all what Groundhog Day is about.
Yeah.
And Groundhog Day is also about a winter storm that traps Phil in Punxsutawney. So he's literally trapped there and figuratively trapped there.
Yeah.
He's trapped there because he keeps reliving the same day, and he's also trapped there because he can't get out because the snowstorm is blocking traffic and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when he finally does wake up on the next day, it's everything's covered in snow.
Yeah.
Which
So it
arguably
happened.
would be a bad day for a lot of people because they'd have to shovel out. But for him, because he got to move forward and because he finally got to move forward with time, it was good for him.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to Gwen about this where she was like, what if he had woken up on one of the next day of one of the days where he did something horrible? Like where he'd committed some horrible crime or something.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, I think he still would have been happy to move forward.
Yeah, it's kind
Even
of,
if it was his worst day, I think he would have just been happy time kept moving.
Yeah, well, we see that actually in It's a Wonderful Life because he obviously snaps back to his reality on the worst day of his life when he's about to be arrested and the
Yeah.
the bank is going to be.
But he's just so happy to
But
have
he's so
his life
happy
back.
that it
Yeah.
doesn't matter to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think about that a lot though too, like because that was he sort of had a moment of euphoria after dealing with all of that. Do you think that would have worn off if he'd been in jail for the next 20 years?
Of course. I mean, yeah, it would not
it would have been like, well, that Mary.
Right. Well, here's the thing. If it had not been the world that he created, if he didn't have all these friends, because even if he went to jail, I think he would have so many people.
So many people would have tried to help him on, like, work on his behalf.
Exactly. That I think he would still have a sense of something positive.
I'll tell you though, that's one hell of an argument for creating community. Because if
Yeah.
enough people like you, you can become almost untouchable.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
absolutely.
about the guy from Bernie.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if it was some politician basically had to move. Bernie was this guy that was he was like a mortician or a mortician's assistant or something. But he was this very likable guy basically, and he moved to this small town to like be their local mortician, and everybody liked him so much. He kind of became friends with this really angry, bitter old woman, and eventually she pushed him to his limit, and he shot her.
Right.
But because the town liked him so much, it was impossible for him to get a fair trial in that area,
Right.
Because nobody would convict him.
Right.
So basically, the whoever the local politician was, who was just some like showboating asshole, like had to move the trial out of state to get him convicted.
Right.
And when he did get convicted, he like went to solitary forever. So it wasn't great. But regardless, I don't have one thing to say morally on that movie or not. Watch the movie. It's called Bernie.
Yeah.
It's worth looking at.
Yeah.
But my point is that if enough people like you, it sort of is a superpower.
Yes. Right.
And so you should, honestly, if you can, I found it very difficult to stomach to like be the kind of person that tries to make everybody like me. Because I get so frustrated by people's nonsense.
Yeah.
But if you're the kind of person that can stomach everybody liking you and you can maintain a very positive outlook, it's a superpower.
Yeah. Do that.
I do that, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I know you're joking, but I'm serious. If you're that kind of person, if you're a very happy-go-lucky person,
Yeah.
use that to your advantage.
I just think
I'm
that
not saying kill anyone.
Right.
I'm not saying use no, okay. I'm not saying use it to your advantage to do evil.
Right.
I'm saying use it as a way to like make your life and the lives of others around you better. And then if you encounter any situations like George Bailey,
Right.
not like Bernie.
Right.
Bernie killed somebody.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you're like George Bailey, if you get into a situation where something is not your fault, but you're still kind of screwed by life, if you have a lot of people who really like you and care about you around you, that can help you out of some very tight spots.
Yeah.
So other people, and community are the most important thing in maintaining a functional, happy life.
Right. I just think it's kind of funny because that kind of goes counter to, because we were talking about religious movies before.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like, the Christ story, like which is told in Ben-Hur, and essentially that the Christ story is suggests that you can be literally the nicest person who ever lived. You can be the greatest guy who ever lived, like Jesus, and you still could be nailed to a cross and have people like, screaming insults.
Absolutely. But that's just bad luck and bad coincidence. That's you know what I'm saying? Like bad things can still happen to good people. I'm not suggesting that you being a totally good person and making everyone like you is going to necessarily save you.
Right.
What I'm saying is it can save you. I'm not saying it will.
Right, but it can.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is life is very hard. Horrible things happen unexpectedly. And if you have no one in your corner when horrible things happen to you, it's a lot worse.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I
So
would
if you
agree.
can, try to build yourself a community. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
No,
Be a likable person, have other, be friends with, don't be like an asshole. Don't be like pretend nice. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
you need that, building that support it can be a very powerful thing.
Sure.
And I've always struggled with that because I get very impatient with people and with the world.
Yeah.
So, like, it's very easy to get into, like, anger and depression. You know what I mean?
Well, and
especially because right now I work in the customer service industry, and you run across a lot of people who can be very frustrating.
Right. But I also wonder if there's maybe an only child aspect to it, because you and I were both only children. And I think that, I know in my case, I get tired, like being around other people is sometimes a bit wearisome, to me.
No, you're right, because my wife has like 7 brothers and sisters, and she does seem to have a much more tolerant social battery than I do, which is to say I think she can stand being around groups of people better than I can. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to say because sometimes she shuts down when she's around her family. So I think it's a mixture.
Of course. I mean, very few of these things are cut and dried.
Yeah. Either way.
I think that's it.
Come here, you beautiful soul.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess that's the end of our winter podcast. 20 minutes longer than usual, so you got a special treat.
We got an epic one going. Yep.
Yeah, this one's gonna take a minute, but it was fun.
It was.
Groundhog Day is
good chat.
If you haven't seen Groundhog Day, 100% see Groundhog Day.
I'm sure most must have seen it. It's such a popular movie. But if you haven't seen it, yes, see it. And that applies to all the other movies we talked about. 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon.
Yeah. Twilight. See all the Twilight movies. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. What else?
The Thing.
Oh, I forgot to mention Snowpiercer as an honorable mention, too.
Yeah, that's a fun movie.
Yeah, Twilight. I'm trying to think of other terrible movies I can name to upset you, to tell people to go see. I'm just kidding. You don't have to watch Twilight unless you really like it. Go ahead. I don't care. Anyway, but
you know what's a good winter movie is Never Cry Wolf.
Never Cry Wolf.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a survival movie.
It is kind of, but it's also got a lot of humor. It's really good.
Also, the book Alive, story of the Andes survivors.
Yeah, that's a wonderful book.
If you can handle really grim situations.
Yeah, Piers Paul Reed, the author of that.
And if cannibalism doesn't bother you.
Yes, that's right.
To survive.
Yes.
Strike up, don't you think I've done in the fun? Because it's a day of polka. Is it a day of polka?
It's the Pennsylvania polka.
The Pennsylvania polka. The Pennsylvania polka. And let us entertain ya. The Pennsylvania polka. Good night, everyone.
Bye.